Lately, it feels like everywhere we look, the world is on fire. Wars, conflict, economic stress, constant breaking news. And for a lot of people, the anxiety is through the roof. So today, I want to talk about something really important: how to stay calm when the world feels chaotic. Because while we can't control everything happening around us, we can absolutely learn how to protect our energy, calm our nervous system, and return to center. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Psychically Speaking with Lisa Ann, the place where intuition meets real life truth with just the right dash of sass. I'm your host, Lisa Ann, psychic medium, intuitive healer, intuitive coach, and your guide for clarity, healing, and soul aligned living. After 30 years of working with people through grief and stress and trauma and major life changes, I can tell you something with absolute certainty: energy matters. And right now, a lot of people are carrying far more stress and anxiety than they even realize. So, today we're going to talk about how to step back from the chaos and bring yourself back to balance. So, let's start with something really important. Your nervous system was never designed to process the entire world's problems every single day. Years ago, people heard the news once in the morning, maybe once at night. Now, we are bombarded with constant information 24 hours a day. And here's the part many people don't realize: your brain doesn't always distinguish between a threat on the screen and a threat that's right in front of you. So when you see constant images of war and conflict and tragedy and crisis over and over and over again, your body starts reacting as if the danger is happening right now, right where you are. Your breathing becomes shallow, your heart rate increases, your thoughts start racing. This is your nervous system going into fight or flight mode. And when this happens repeatedly, day after day, anxiety builds. So the first thing I want you to remember is this: you are not responsible for carrying the weight of the entire world. Yes, you can care about what's happening, and you should. You can stay informed, and you should. But you cannot allow the chaos of the entire world to take control of your nervous system. One of the most powerful things that you can do when anxiety starts rising is something that's actually very simple: return to the present moment. Ask yourself this question: am I safe right now, right in this moment? Not tomorrow, not next week, not based on something you saw online, not something that you're what-ifing about, just right now. Most of the time, the answer is yes. But your mind has been pulled into fear about something that's happening elsewhere. The moment you recognize that, your nervous system can begin to calm. Another incredibly powerful tool is your breath. Breathing is the fastest way to communicate with your nervous system. Try this simple reset: a slow inhale through your nose to the count of 4, holding that breath to the count of 4, and then slowly exhaling to the count of 6. When you extend the exhale, you are literally signaling the brain that it is safe to relax. Just a few minutes of this type of breathing can shift your body out of stress mode. Another important boundary right now is limiting your exposure to constant news and social media. I am not telling you to ignore the world, but there's a difference between staying informed and drowning in information. If you check the news every 10 minutes, your brain never gets a break. Give yourself permission to step away. Turn off the television, put down the phone. Turn off those notifications that are constantly interrupting your day with horrible, stressful updates. Go outside, take a walk, move your body, look at the sky. Because peace doesn't come from the world suddenly becoming calm. Peace comes from learning how to center yourself even when the world is not calm. Another thing I want you to remember is this. Energy spreads. Fear spreads quickly. But guess what? Calm spreads quickly too. When you choose to stay grounded instead of reactive, you become a stabilizing energy for the people around you. Your family feels it, your friends feel it, your clients feel it. And in times like this, grounded people are incredibly valuable. I was so upset the other day. I was looking for something on social media and a video popped up. And it was a politician. And there's been actors and, people that I just tend to hold to a higher standard, right? I tend to hold people that have an influence over other people. I tend to hold them at a higher standard. I expect more from them. I expect them to use their authority, to use their fame, to use their position to spread good in the world. So anyway, I'm scrolling through. I see this video, this politician, and of course, when you're scrolling, the volume is on. And I could not believe my ears. They were talking about a situation and they kept going on and on about how much worse than you even realize it is and how you should be filled with fear. And when I tell you, my heart literally broke in that moment, because I thought to myself, I do not care what side of the fence you are on. I do not care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent. I don't care. When you have a platform and you use that platform to spread fear, I just lose all respect for you. When you could be using that platform in such a different way to say, you know what, let me give you the facts. Here's why this is a problem. Here's why I disagree with this. But we don't get that in our world anymore. We get all these accusations and things that aren't even factual, that just spread fear. And boy, oh boy, I'm going to really date myself here. But there used to be this shampoo commercial years ago. And it was like, they had the commercial with the hair and then this one told this one and it showed like how it spread so fast, right? Like the positivity about this shampoo. And I always keep that in the back of my mind because it's always so interesting to me that fear and negativity spreads so much faster than happiness and positivity. And it's such a sad fact, but it's true, right? People find out did you hear, what happened to Mary last week? And then before you know it, the whole neighborhood knows what happens to Mary, right? But if you're talking about something positive, 3 weeks later, you can be like, oh my God, did you hear what happened to Joan? No, I didn't. Of course not, because that was positive, right? Fear spreads quickly, right? But we can focus on spreading that calm. We can change that around. We can spread calm quickly too. But we have to play a role. We have to be the ones that when we see something negative, We have to make that promise to ourselves to say, you know what? I'm making a conscious choice to not spread that. It was very interesting. I saw something recently that was so beyond disturbing to me that I'm just going to share with you that it's been 4 weeks now and I still cannot get it out of my head. That is how traumatic what I read and saw was. And I was talking to my sister one day and we were talking about the topic, and I said to her, you know what? I saw something and read something about this that is so disturbing that I have not been able to get it out of my mind. It is in my head every single day. And I said to her, it is so horrible. I'm not even going to share it with you. And of course she said, thank you for that, right? Because I don't, as much as, you want to share this stuff, it's like, it's not going to have a positive impact to traumatize someone else. And the funniest thing happened. I was teaching a class at my wellness center, and someone walked in a few minutes early and we were talking, and the same topic had come up. And she said to me, I saw something so disturbing the other day. She goes, but I'm not even going to share it because I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to give it any energy. And I just started laughing to myself. And I said to her, that is so funny because that is exactly what I said. And I told her, I go, I can guarantee you I saw the same thing. And I just had the same exact conversation with my sister. I am not going to share what it was because I do not want to spread that fear. So I want you to really take a step back. And I want you to think about, what is the role that you are playing? Are you absorbing fear? Are you absorbing anger? And most importantly, are you spreading it? Right? And sometimes we're not spreading it because we're bad people. We're just trying to process it. We're trying to figure out what is going on in this world. But sometimes it's better to just keep some things to yourself and ask yourself, if I share this, am I spreading fear? If I share this, am I spreading anger? Because those of you who listen to this podcast and have been with me for a while, you know how important energy is. The energy, the vibrational level of fear and anger brings everybody down. And that's what's really happening in our world. And I have said for many, many years that we cannot shift from a place of anger. I understand anger. I've been in a place of anger many, many times myself, especially of late. But by spreading it, it's not going to help to shift the energy. We shift the energy with compassion, understanding, respect, especially of people that we may not agree with. And we need to take a step back and we need to say, if I really want to shift and change the things that are going on, I have to make the conscious choice to play a positive role. What am I doing to help change rules? Not from a place of anger, not from a place of screaming and yelling and getting in fights and stop speaking to family members and all the insanity that goes on. But what can I do in a positive way? So I want to give you a challenge, and it's actually so simple. For the next 24 hours, I want you to give yourself permission to take a break. I want you to not check on the news for 24 hours. I want you to not engage with negative people for 24 hours. And yes, for those of you who do social media, I want you to stay off all social media for 24 hours. And I want you to simply observe how you feel after those 24 hours. And again, listen, I'm not saying that you have to hide out in a cave. I'm just saying so many people, so many of us are just taking on all of this anxiety and all of this crazy energy that's out there. And we have to take that moment to pause and ask ourselves, am I safe right now? Take those slow breaths in. Allow your nervous system that reset time. And listen, the world has gone through difficult moments. Human history is full of uncertainty, conflict, and change. But guess what? It's also full of resilience, compassion, and strength. It's full of people stepping forward to help one another. I remember living in New York when 9/11 happened, and I think back to that moment so often in my life when I feel that there is just no hope, when I feel like we are so divided in so many different areas. I think back to 9/11 because I remember that moment like it was yesterday. When 9/11 happened, it didn't matter if you were a Republican or a Democrat, if you were rich or poor, if you were purple, green, or yellow. It didn't matter what your religious belief system was, what your sexual preference was. We were all New Yorkers. We were all human beings trying to help and support each other. So when I think about the chaos of the world, I think back to that moment. And I think how in that moment, everybody came together. The compassion, the strength, the people doing whatever needed to be done, the police officers, the firefighters that ran into collapsing buildings to help people. So remember, you don't need to carry the stress of the entire planet on your shoulders. Your body was not designed that way. Your nervous system was not created to carry the stress of the entire world. So give yourself permission to protect your peace, protect your nervous system. And remember something very, very important. When it comes to energy, remember that when you stay calm, when you stay grounded, and when you stay centered, that is the moment that you become part of the solution. Thank you for joining me today on Psychically Speaking. If this episode resonated with you, I truly appreciate you subscribing to the podcast, leaving a review, and sharing it with someone who could use a little inspiration. It's one of the best ways that you can help the show grow and reach more beautiful souls. And remember to join me for my free weekly Psychically Speaking Live held via Zoom. For more information about my work, upcoming events, or working with me directly, visit spiritquestnc.com. Until next time, stay grounded, stay aware, and always trust your inner knowing.